Hey guys, so I just finished training and I wanted to talk about a paper that I just had published through Sports Health. Um, so the story behind this paper, so it was around 2021. Um, Before 2021, I would have assumed that heel hooks were never going to be legal in the IBJF. Obviously, fast forward, they made the heel hooks legal. So I reached out to Ethan Creasworth, who's the head of the IBJF Sports Medicine, and I was like, this would be a really cool thing to study because obviously there's a lot of anecdotal data on looking at knee injuries associated with the heel hook, but this would be a really good opportunity to test it because before that you only really saw heel hooks used in professional grappling or ADCC, but at ADCC you're looking at about 98 competitors for the whole weekend. So what we looked at was we did IBJF No Gi Pains 2021. So I flew out to Texas to collect the data, specifically because that was the first major no-gi event where heel hooks were legal. So I collected the data, and then I took all the data that I found from that, and we looked at it. And what we found was that heel hooks did increase knee injuries fairly dramatically. It looked like they went up about 12 times for the divisions where it was legal versus non-legal. So we had two different divisions. So one, we looked at brown and black adult versus brown and black masters because the only difference between those would be heel hooks were legal and age. But we also, because Ethan had collected data from, I think it was No-Gi Worlds 2009. So we looked at the data from 2009 and we compared it to the data that I collected in 2021. Unfortunately, in Ethan's paper, he didn't collect the specific mechanism of injury. So we have to just look at all injuries, which include injuries from takedowns, takedowns for positional scrambles, and joint locks. So between the two groups, in 2021, we found out that knee injuries increased, like I said, 12 times in the divisions where heel hooks were legal. We didn't find that the 2009 to 2021, we did not find that data to be statistically significant, but the power was fairly low because there wasn't as many people, and there's other things we had to keep in mind. So really what started this was just my intellectual curiosity of, what would happen in those divisions where heel hooks were legal. Now, a lot of people are going to look at me, they see I have a heel hook rash guard, or leg lock or rash guard. So I am a fan of heel hooks. Again, I was a martial artist before as a physical therapist, so I don't like when too many techniques are made illegal, but it is good to know. And in my opinion, this is one of the things we're seeing in divisions where they're legal. So now you're seeing that heel hook defense is becoming much better in competitions to a point. Now we're seeing a rise in straight ankle locks because people are getting so good at defending heel hooks. I also think that the education on heel hooks needs to be better because there's many people that only train IBJF, so they don't do heel hooks until brown belt. But again, by that point, they're essentially a novice in the technique. And I've worked with plenty of people who either went to an open mat and somebody heel hooked them and they didn't understand the move, or they go to an open mat and somebody's heel hooking them in the gi and they don't know what happens and boom, their ACL goes. So in my clinical opinion, one, even though heel hooks do increase knee injuries, which was the paper found, I also think that a thing to focus on is good education. As an instructor, anytime I teach heel hooks, I talk about the danger of the move. I talk about the culture in the gym in training specifically, just because you have a move doesn't mean you have to crank it. In competitions, people need to be aware when they're in a submission, they need to tap if they're trapped because they will get injured. So I just wanted to do a quick overview of that. If you haven't had a chance, check out the paper. With the data, we're looking to write a second paper on jiu-jitsu competition injury epidemiology, just to kind of see. So there's some other interesting things that I found, but as opposed to making a really big paper with too many focuses, we wanted to focus on heel hook injuries for the first paper, and then the second paper is going to be global injuries from the competition that I collected. Thanks, guys.